Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Probation Officer's Perspective. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to all, so you'll be notified of all the new content that I'm pushing out. I want to thank everybody for their support, supporting my channel, supporting me. I gladly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So today, the fully blooded felons, 18. They the feds arrested 18, and the main guy who calls himself the Godfather. Now, I've heard of this gang in Ohio, it's based out of Cleveland, but I didn't know a whole lot about it until I saw this, read the DOJ statement, and watched the news article, read the news article, watched the news clip. So that's what I'm covering today. And you know what? My channel, just so you guys, if you're new to the channel, my channel's everywhere. Okay? I try to cover crime, corruption, prison, probation, parole, my investigations, which I did. I'm doing a series on that right now. And I just cover it all. Cover all that. Because I worked as a CO, an investigator, homicide investigator, major crimes unit, felony PO, patrol. I've seen it all. And I've seen a lot of corruption. And my channel really focuses, my focus is the corruption. I like to expose corruption. But in this case, this is something that like I said, I've heard of them, fully blooded felons, and they went by another name before that, but I didn't really know exactly what they were about. So let's get into it. Let's watch the. Let me make myself smaller here, and then we can watch the news clip. And then after we watch the news clip, I want to read the statement from the DOJ. And the reason I want to read the statement from the DOJ is because, hold on a second there, I lost you guys. There we go. So the reason I want to read it from the DOJ, because it's a pretty lengthy, it's not that long, but I can read it pretty fast. But it explains it more than the news does, and the news stories and the newspapers or articles, whatever. There's just more, they get more detail of what's been going on and stuff like that. So, all right, let's get into this. We'll watch this news clip, and then we'll get me smaller here. All right.
We have some breaking developments on a major crime bust right here in Cleveland. A violent gang has been brought down after a massive operation by local, state, and federal law enforcement.
Gabby Hart joins us from the neighborhood where it all started.
Yeah, we're talking RICO, racketeering charges that involve murder, sexual assault, kidnapping, and drug distribution. Authorities say it originated and happened right here in Cleveland's Cedars Central neighborhood. They even say drugs were sold right here in this very vicinity, like an open-air market. They also told us that the alleged kingpin of this gang called himself the Godfather. 18 members of the fully blooded felons gang indicted.
Active in Northeast Ohio for over a decade and had a significant presence in Cleveland, particularly in the Cedar Central neighborhood.
The gang started as a branch of another gang known as the Heartless Felons. Authorities say they've been flooding our streets with fentanyl, meth, and other deadly drugs. And that's not all.
The fully blooded felons resorted to the worst kinds of violent acts, including murder, kidnapping, assault, and robbery.
Leading this reign of terror, the alleged kingpin, Raven Mullins, who officials say referred to himself as the Godfather. He allegedly established a strict hierarchy within the gang, complete with rules, fines, and brutal punishments for anyone who disobeyed.
FBF held meetings to discuss gang business and were required to abide by Amaretta, meaning a code of silence.
The criminal enterprise even extended into the Ohio prison system, where they attempted to smuggle
drug-soaked paper and other contraband.
stash houses, torture, guns, and drugs. This organized crime ring has been operating right under our noses. It sounds like something straight out of a movie.
They were modeling themselves and using the kind of terms, as you put it, that you would see in a movie or have seen in movies, and certainly that are associated with criminal syndicate and crime families historically.
But just like in those movies, their empire has come crashing down. RICO laws let prosecutors go after the whole gang, including the leaders, even for crimes that they didn't personally commit, facing decades, if not life, in prison.
Telephone calls, text messages, and social media.
And again, this was a 2-year comprehensive investigation that included multiple agencies. We're talking state, federal, and local level. Authorities sending a clear message that they are watching and they are working to keep the streets of Northeast Ohio safe. In Cleveland, I'm Gabby Hart, 19 News.
All right, guys, that's what we got for the news. So what do you think of that? It's crazy. They don't show 18 of them but it should. I think it breaks it down in the DOJ. They got superseding indictments and this guy calling himself the Godfather. They're all going to be in prison now, probably for the rest of their lives. Federal prison. Federal prison is going to have some people coming. Like I said, I didn't know it was that deep in Ohio. Like, I know there's Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, like in the prison systems. And then, of course, there's gangs everywhere. But it was an interesting story because I wasn't aware of all that was going on. So let me get this open up here. And we can start reading it now. See how it's transparent? I don't know why it does that. On some pages, it goes transparent. So what I have to do is take myself out. And when I take myself out, then I'll be able to see. Then you'll be able to see it. So I'm going to take myself out and read it to you. And then that way you guys can see it. Still kind of hard to see, but hopefully you guys can read it. So 18 Ohio gang members and associates charged in second superseding indictment. Charges including RICO conspiracy, murder, kidnapping, assault, firearms violations, and drug trafficking. I mean, this gang had these are the top 18 members that they got. I mean, there's tons more that they didn't get. Somebody's going to step in that position, probably not right away, but it's not going to stop if they're that big. So the U.S. Attorney's Office for Northern District of Ohio today unsealed a second superseding indictment against 18 members and associates of a Cleveland-based violent street gang known as the Fully Blooded Felons, or FBF. The defendants charged are alleged to have committed numerous federal crimes, including racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations, RICO conspiracy, murder in aid of racketeering, kidnapping in aid of racketeering, assault in aid of racketeering, firearms violations, conspiracy, and drug trafficking. The investigation that led to the second superseding indictment took place throughout the last 2 years, with the initial indictment issued in December 20th, 2023, followed by the superseding indictment on April 4th of 2024. And this was just released on, it was yesterday, a day ago. Yeah, it was yesterday. And if you've been in the federal penitentiary, the USP, or any other federal system, you probably already have heard of the FBF or Heartless Felons. They went by before. It was the Heartless Felons, and then now they're the Fully Blooded Felons. I think that was about a decade ago. They changed maybe the name. So you might be familiar with some of those individuals if you've ever worked or been in the federal system. So, according to court documents, members of the FBF have engaged in criminal activity for more than a decade in Ohio. Since approximately 2012, the gang was primarily based on the east side of Cleveland, but also established strongholds in Akron, Youngstown, and other areas. Youngstown's, man, I'll tell you what, Youngstown's rough. Cleveland's rough, but Youngstown is a rough area. Very rough area. And other areas. The scope and reach of the gang's alleged criminal operations includes attempts to infiltrate the Ohio prison system. I don't think they attempted. I guarantee you they infiltrated the Ohio prison system. And I have, my own experience with working in Ohio, and excuse me for a second, man, I had to blow my nose. I'm still trying to get over this cold so I can talk. But in Ohio, especially like Ohio prisons. So when I was a PO, I had to deal with some of these people, these gang members, and dealing with the prisons, being a CO also. But as a PO, I had to go to the prisons sometimes, depending on what to talk to them for certain reasons or whatever. But to say that they attempted to infiltrate, that's just the way they put it. Damn good and well they infiltrated the prison system. But whatever. Federal and local law enforcement agents and officers apprehended individuals in a series of coordinated arrests. They seized several controlled substances, including cocaine, methamphetamine, and more than 400 grams of fentanyl. They also confiscated 15 illegally possessed firearms throughout the investigation. I don't like when they put out there about that, because you want to talk about what they seized: several controlled substances, cocaine, methamphetamine, that's fine. 400 grams of fentanyl. Don't get into how much. And 15 illegally possessed firearms. Come on now. They're this big of a gang, and they're doing all this stuff. Damn good and well they got more than 15 guns. And so just kind of they need to just leave that out. Just other than, the amount, 15 guns. Yeah, they got 15, and there's probably 200 more, 300 more that they didn't get. So anyways, let's go on. That's just my opinion. The superseding indictment alleges that 18 defendants were leaders, members, or associates of the Fully Blooded Felons, a violent gang that for more than a decade made money and controlled territory in northern Ohio through murder, arson, robbery, drug trafficking, and firearms possession, said Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Nicole Argentieri, whatever, head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Violence and other gang activities make communities less safe for all their residents. Well, yeah, no shit. Addressing violent crime, including through the arrests announced today, is one of the Criminal Division's highest priorities. I'm proud of the outstanding work done by our Violent Crime and Racketeering section in partnership with federal, state, and local partners to make our community a safer place to live by targeting the most violent offenders on our streets. As the indictment alleges, the Fully Blooded Felons styled themselves as a mafia crime family. Hold on. terrorizing Cleveland streets and operating an open-air illegal drug market in the Cedar Central neighborhood for years. I commend the valiant efforts of our brave law enforcement partners who have worked diligently to win back our streets and protect our community by taking down these bad actors. The U.S. Attorney Rebecca Lutzko for the Northern District of Ohio. The USAO will aggressively continue to pursue, through RICO prosecutions and other federal charges, violent criminals who seek to secure territory, power, and money by ruthlessly harming others, peddling poisons, and creating an atmosphere of fear. Members of the FBF or other violent gangs in the district who have yet to be caught, see what I'm saying? Who have yet to be caught, should think twice before continuing to engage in such illegal and destructive behavior. Well, they're going to do it. You know what I mean? If they took out the FBF, which I don't believe they took it all out, but it's a start. If they took the FBF out, let's say, it's going to give the other gangs, make them bigger, and they're going to take over. And, it's just going to keep going. It's going to mellow out for a little while, and then they're going to start taking over where they left off. After they cool off for a while, they're going to be a cool off period where they're going to watch their, shit for a minute. For several years, these individuals committed a homicide, armed robberies, and unlawfully imported and distributed fentanyl and other dangerous opioids throughout the community, said FBI Cleveland Special Agent in Charge Greg Nelson. The fully blooded felons, a subset of the heartless felons criminal network, has been identified as Cleveland's most significant gang threat, and their reign of terror is over thanks to the collaborated efforts of the FBI and the State Safe Streets Gang Task Force. We will not waver in our mission to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle gangs not only in the larger cities across America, but also right here in Northern Ohio. During the investigation, law enforcement officials uncovered the defendants' patterns of racketeering activity, which included their establishment of an organized structure for their criminal enterprise involving gang members' hierarchy, titles, and rules. The FBF's framework was allegedly created by the highest-ranking member, Raven Mullins, who held the self-proclaimed position of Godfather. The gang structure included a commission made up of a member subgroup known as commissioners. Together, they maintained the enterprise organization through physical discipline and by determining which illicit means they had pursued to generate income. To accomplish their goal, promoting and enhancing their criminal enterprise and its members and associates' activities in preserving and protecting their territories. FBF members and associates conspired to commit and did commit murder, assaults, robberies, and drug trafficking. I find it hard to believe, this is just my opinion again, they keep saying murder, did commit a murder. If they're this big of a gang, this hard of a gang, and a murder, they don't want to put an S on that, murder, because they only apparently got one tied to them. I guarantee you there's several murders from this gang, from the FBF. But let's keep going because this is long. As the indictment alleges, each FBF member was expected to follow a set of rules that Mullins primarily established. Mullins and the commissioner disseminated these expectations to FBF members online, in text messages, and face-to-face communications. Members were required to memorize and recite a set of rules known as the Fully Five at meetings, and they faced punishment if they answered incorrectly. Rules included following of all orders issued by the commission, pledging their loyalty to fellow members, and being respectful to the capos, who were FBF members in the leadership roles beneath the commissioners. They were also expected to know and adhere to the fully commandments, another set of rules similar to the fully five. Investigators discovered the gang members occupied two separate units at a local apartment complex they used as stash houses to facilitate drug trafficking. While executing two search warrants, law enforcement recovered more than 400 grams of fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, and multiple firearms from these locations. And I'm going to tell you right now, and you guys probably already know this, there's more than two. They didn't just have those two units. That was it. They're this big of a gang where they're doing the whole, Northeast Ohio. Cleveland's a big city. And I think they said they were involved in, Youngstown and another city. So they got two housing or two apartments that they raided. That's what they got from those two houses. But guarantee there's way more stash houses than that, if they're that big. According to the second superseding indictment on September 12, 2023, Raven Mullins, Henry Burkett, and James Clemens, along with another unidentified individual. Why is he unidentified? Because he's ratting, he's telling. Shot and killed a victim on the west side of Cleveland. After killing the victim, the defendants fled the scene in a stolen vehicle that was later set on fire. That's why they only got one. Why they put murder. The second superseding indictment alleges a years-long pattern of racketeering violence, including murder, kidnapping, assaults, and drug trafficking. The defendants and their charges are as follows. Raven Mullins, which is the so-called godfather of this gang, a.k.a. Dunny, a.k.a. Dunn, 35 of Cleveland, Ohio, is charged with RICO conspiracy, murder in aid of racketeering, kidnapping in aid of racketeering, assault in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, numerous counts of possession with intent to distribute controlled substances, possession of a firearm, and the furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, use of communications facility to facilitate a felony drug offense, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Next in line, Henry Burchett, a.k.a. Noodles, a.k.a. New, a.k.a. Omerta, 29 of Cleveland, Ohio, is charged with RICO conspiracy, murder in aid of racketeering, kidnapping in aid of racketeering, assault in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to distribute controlled substance, numerous counts of possession with intent to distribute controlled substances, possession of a firearm, and furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, use of communications facility to facilitate a felony drug offense, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. You got Elijah Johnson, a.k.a. Loon, 37 of Youngstown, is charged with conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, interstate travel in aid of racketeering, and use of communications facility to facilitate a drug offense. DeMarcus Elliott, a.k.a. Moo, a.k.a. Fastlane, 37 of Cleveland, is charged with RICO conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, and use of communications facility to facilitate a felony drug offense. I mean, it just keeps going. I'm not going to read them all. I mean, if you guys want to check it out, I'll go through the names of all the people that were arrested, but I'm not going to go through all their charges because most of them are all the same. We got Dontez Hammond, a.k.a. Donnie, a.k.a. Tez. Jeffrey Lee, he's 35, Dontez. Jeffrey Lee, a.k.a. Fatty, 24 of Cleveland, Ohio. Gerald Jones Farrell, A.K. Ruga, 25 of Cleveland, Ohio. Devontae Johnson, a.k.a. D-Nut, a.k.a. Nut, 32 of Euclid, Ohio, which Euclid is a suburb of Cleveland, if you're not familiar with it. Jerome Williams, a.k.a. J, a.k.a. JT, 29 of Cleveland. Christopher Horton, a.k.a. Cam, a.k.a. Killa, 41 of Cleveland, Ohio. Deandra Perkins, a.k.a. Drizzy, 33 of Garfield Heights, Ohio, another suburb of Cleveland. Dion Blackwell, a.k.a. White Boy, 38 of Cleveland, Ohio. James Clemens, a.k.a. Flock, a.k.a. Pope, a.k.a. Fully Pope Flock, 32 of Cleveland. Alex Darden, a.k.a. Little Pee-wee, 23 of Cleveland. Esmond Williams, a.k.a. Relly, 35 of Cleveland. Adriana Knoll, a.k.a. Ollie, 27 of Cleveland, Ohio. Maisha West, a.k.a. Action, 31 of Lorain, Ohio. Kyla Cherie Tyler, a.k.a. Yayo, 27 of Cleveland, Ohio. An indictment is merely an allegation. Defendants are presumed innocent and entitled to a fair trial in which it will be government's burden to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. If convicted, each defendant's sentence will be determined by the court after review of the factors unique case to the case, including each defendant's prior criminal record, if any, their role in the offense, and the characteristics of the violation. In all cases, the sentence will not exceed the statutory maximum, and in most cases, it will be less than the maximum. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. This prosecution is part of an organized crime drug enforcement task force, OCDETF, strike force initiative, which provides for the establishment of permanent multi-agency task force teams that work side by side in the same location. This co-located model enables agents from different agencies to collaborate on intelligence-driven multi-jurisdictional operations to disrupt and dismantle the most significant drug traffickers, money launderers, gangs, and transnational criminal organizations. And see, that's what I worked for. It was a task force, but it was the major crimes unit. And I've explained that in my, like the series I'm doing on the serial killer. I kind of explain the department that I work for. It's several different individuals from different organizations within law enforcement. And, we work together and investigate crimes like this. Major crimes. But it's a task force. They change the names up all the time. The specific mission of the OCDETF Cleveland Strike Force is to disrupt and dismantle major criminal organizations and subsidiary organizations, including criminal gangs, transnational drug cartels, racketeering organizations, and other engaged in illicit activities that present a threat to public safety and national security and are related to the illegal smuggling and trafficking of narcotics or other controlled substances, weapons, humans, or other illegal concealment or transfer of proceeds derived from such illicit activities in the Northern District of Ohio. The OCDETF Cleveland Strike Force is composed of agents and officers from all the alphabet agency, FBI, DEA, ATF, and Homeland Security, so HSI, the U.S. Marshals, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the IRS, the U.S. Border Patrol, along with the task force officers from numerous local law enforcement agencies, including the Cleveland Division of Police. Prosecutions are led by the Office of the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Ohio. This case was investigated by the FBI Cleveland Division with assistance from the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office, the Cleveland Division of Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the DEA, and the ATF. This case is being prosecuted by the Assistant United States Attorney Paul E. Hanna and Robert F. Courts for the Northern District of Ohio, and trial attorneys Brian W. Lynch and Alyssa Levy Weinstein of the Justice Department, Criminal Division's Violent Crime and Racketeering Section. All right. There we go. So that was a lot. Holy shit, that was a lot. That's 31 minutes. I didn't think it would take that long. Anyways, I wanted to get that news out to you guys. I mean, that's a pretty good lick for the feds, especially for the Ohio, Cleveland, big city. Well, not even just Ohio or Cleveland, but other towns like Youngstown, and which is, like I said, it's a rough town. And there's a lot of rough towns up north around Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. But they took a major hit. Is it going to stop? Probably not. You can't tell me. I know they got the so-called, whatever he calls himself, the Godfather, but is it going to 18 members? There's no way there was 18 members, and that was a huge, the way they talked about how big this gang was. So they got the big guys. That's what they wanted. They get the big guys. They're probably going to do life in prison. That would be my guess, in the feds. And if you've been in the federal system, you guys might know of some of these people already. Anyways, that's what I got for you today. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Why do I do that? Sorry about that. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to all, so you'll be notified of all the new content that I'm pushing out. And I got a couple more videos for you to do today that I'm going to be dropping today and tomorrow. Then I'll probably go live tonight. If you're watching, we might do another giveaway. I still got merch to give away. So a lot of merch to give away still on my lives. So if you catch one of my lives, jump on there. I don't know what I'm going to do this time as far as my live, as far as the giveaway. Anyways, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Have a great Friday. Peace.